Are you a mom that feels hopeless navigating the silent ache of estrangement from your adult child? You are not alone. This journey comes with mixed emotions, which might seem endless at times, but there is a glimmer of hope. And I want you to imagine transforming all of this pain into a path of self-discovery and strength. So join me today as we explore some stories of resilience, of real people just like you, who felt hopeless but have now found hope, and in some cases, reconciliation. I'm going to share some practical steps towards healing and how nurturing that hope paired with actionable self-care can pave you forward. So let's take this journey to find peace and purpose amidst this challenging time. Some of you have heard me share some stories of resilience and hope in some of the moms that I serve. And I have other stories that I want to share with you today. But first, I want you to understand the emotional toll that estrangement can have on you. Many times we ignore those signs, right? We ignore the signs of poor emotional health, poor physical health, because it just seems easier, like it's just going to go away. But I want you to listen with an open mind, and I want you to see that you are not alone in these experiences. And because the feelings of loss, guilt, confusion can feel like they're overtaking your mind at times, but know that these feelings are valid, but they do not, and I repeat, they do not have to define your life. So I'm going to share 3 tips, and then I want you to hear these stories. Number 1 is the importance of hope. We all know how hope can serve as a light in dark times, right? We all know that. But regardless of the situation, it does guide us towards the possibility of a better future. So I want to emphasize that hope alone is not a strategy. Right? I'm not here to just tell you to sit back and do nothing and just have hope. It must be paired with action. So whether that's in working towards reconciliation, if that's you at the moment, right? Or if you're fully estranged at the moment, maybe that means you're going to pair that with personal growth and healing. So number 2 is focusing on self-care. I know we talk about self-care a lot because it's so crucial. But what does it look like? So I want to encourage you with everything that I have to find activities that serve you well. One that is pretty universal is regular exercise and mindfulness, right? I want to remind you to ask yourself, do you have any proof of what you are ruminating on is even true? Because many of you catastrophize in your brain, in your mind, that the worst possible case scenario is going to happen. But I want to promise you and encourage you to think about that, because those thoughts are not valid. That is the enemy who is trying to bring confusion and fear and ultimately hopelessness. And we don't have room for that here, right? So if you are a mom that I've never talked to before and you want a consultation, when you are ready to explore what coaching looks like, ready to explore what it's like to have someone walk alongside you to hold your hand during this journey, I want you to reach out to me. This is a discovery call. The link is below. It's a 30-minute consultation where you and I get to know each other a little bit better, and I'm going to share with you what I think the best recommendation is for you and your family, your personal needs, and how I could help. Number 3 is moving forward. We have to explore new interests. We can't stay settled. We can't stay stale, right? Rekindle those old passions that you used to love to do, that used to bring you fulfillment and joy. So many of you think that community service or learning a new skill couldn't even be in your realm of influence right now. But I promise you it is. Because learning something new or giving back to others is going to provide you with a sense of purpose and connection like nothing else can. We want to, at the same time, set those healthy boundaries, right? We want to have whatever that step is towards healing potential, our future relationships with our kids. We want that healing potential. But we also have to remember that boundaries, as we set those, as is part of self-care, we have to remember that they are not walls. They are gates with doors, and they can open and close. As time progresses and things change, the boundaries change, right? So I do want to share a couple stories with you before we go. The first is a mom that I worked with several years ago, and she has a son. I'm not going to include names here, but she has a son who was using alcohol and drugs. And he ended up being homeless for quite some time. And this has been going on for probably, I think, 6 or 7 years. And she had given up hope. When she came to me, she didn't have any hope left. And so along our journey, I encouraged her. She had not heard from her son for a long time, a couple years, and she had kind of given up hope that he would ever be okay and overcome this addiction, but also that he would ever get his life together, but also what is her family going to look like, right? And so she feared all of these things. And so again, having hope coupled with action, she went out in the midst of her pain, in the midst of waiting for her son. She went out and she does community service. She leads groups. She does all these things. She's volunteers at her church. She does all of these things to, encourage others as well as feeding herself. And long story short, her son has since gone to rehab in the middle of all of this, just when she thought it was, she had given up hope. Her son has put himself into a rehab. I believe he's been in there about 6 months now, and he's doing fantastic. He's in a year program. And the future is looking brighter, right? Now it's up to her son to finish the program, to finish his journey of sobriety, from the addiction. And that is something that he's going to have to do for himself. But they're starting to rebuild the relationship. They're starting to rebuild the family. And that can happen for you too. So as bleak as it can look sometimes, I just want to encourage you to never give up complete hope. There's days where you're like, this looks impossible. But guess who works behind the scenes? When things look impossible, right? What we see in the natural, right? That's not God. We're just seeing what we see with our own two eyes. God works in the supernatural, right? They always say, put your super on my natural, right? Supernatural blessings and healings and just loss of strongholds and all of these, break these addictions and ties. And that's what I want for your children too. And so that story was amazing. And so we have so many more stories, but I wanted to share that one with you today. But I hope that blessed you. And stay tuned. I'll be sharing more stories in the near future. And God bless you.